18th of Jan 2014. I promised you MP3 conversions. I promised you we'd get onto the radio and the electric aerial and a few other minor little electrical modifications which we're now working on. I'm building up, as you probably noticed in the background, there was a mobiliser brochure there. That's because it's getting heavily immobilised. I won't be covering that for obvious reasons, but it will be getting neatly done. I'm sure you can work that out. There's relays and all sorts going in. Today, you're on board. It's another electronics lesson, everybody. I'm on the magnifying glass at the moment, so that gives you a good picture of what's going on. I'm needing this for working on some of the close-up stuff. We've got a set over there, which is going to get converted to MP3. It's actually not Swampy's final set, but the way that I convert Swampy's set will be identical to this one. This one's a customer job. It's actually an upgrade on my green car. This set is for the green car, so I'm going to test it in the green car and see how it works, and then probably stay in there because it's got FM on it. I've got an FM set here, but Swampy's got some sets currently being serviced abroad there in Ireland by Jedi and George. In the meantime, while we're waiting for those sets to come back, I need to keep moving on, so I'm going to work on this set for now. This is a runner, and what we've done the first port of call on this job is to build a multi-harness plug. So I've got a 6-pin DIN male and female plug here, which I've just wired up. I'll take you on board. Hold on, flip that up, and our inspection cover. There's a multi-plug which I've wired. Okay, so that enables me to disconnect the radio and the extra controls I'm building in. Hold on a sec. Yeah, okay, so we've got to modify the radio so that it can control the MP3. I want fast forward. I want rewind, skip, track, reverse track. And I need a boot up button to start the MP3 running or to switch back to radio. So for that reason, this radio needs to control a separate module. So we first have to modify the set so that it can control the items. We do that with micro switches. The micro switches fit inside. I've put them on Vero board because it's a good insulator. There's an example of a micro switch. You'll see how this works now. I have to be careful with the set because I don't want to scratch it. It's in good nick. Have a look how that goes. Okay, so I'm operating a micro switch there, which I've modified. That's operated by one of the buttons on the front. So basically all you're doing is creating a switched output from the set to a module via this cable. So this cable gives you the quick release. We go through these, we're just going to test these continuity on these and make sure that plug's working, but it comes out the end of those wires, and then we hit some relays in a little module box which you'll see me build shortly. Those relays will then in turn control the MP3's fast forward. So we're making an interface box, if you will. So I'm going to get on now and test these wires and create the interface box. That's all you're going to see in the set there, so the lid can go on that once I've soldered these wires onto those micro switches. I can then put the lid back on it, and then by activating the button at the front I shall see power get to the relay, and then you'll hear the click on the relay box as I operate those switches there. Then I can box that section off. I do need to pick up an electric aerial output. This set doesn't have electric aerial output on it, so I'll be picking that up from the power switch and routing a separate cable into there. So mods to this radio are micro switches, electric aerial output, and that's it. Then I can put the lid on that and bolt it into the chassis up here, and then I can just, when I'm ready, just plug in on the multi-plug at the back, and the set's ready to start controlling the MP3. There's also a line in socket at the back here which I'll be accessing with a DIN plug. That picks up my line feed, so that when the MP3 fires up it puts the line feed into here via a relay that will toggle on the power switch. Okay, so we're on with that now. That's all electronics on this video. This is an optional video if no one wants to watch on the Cortina restoration but aren't into the electronic side of things, then feel free to skip. But this is for anyone who's into a bit of hobbying with electronics and might want to have a go themselves. So I'm set up, soldering iron there. Magnifying glass is just helping me on the finer stuff. If your eyes are good, you probably get away without using it, but it just helps you on the smaller jobs. Some relays, micro switches, a lot of the stuff's from Maplin, can get it from other suppliers. So I'm going to move on now. It's going to jump ahead a little bit, and you'll just see probably just quick snapshots of how I've got on, because it can get too detailed. I can always summarise it later on. So skipping forward to the module being built now, I'll show you me soldering in the relays and then boxing that set up, and then we'll be testing it on board there. The breakout box with the relays will have LEDs on it, so we'll be able to have the breakout box here with the 4 control lights on, and then as I go up to the dash and press the buttons, I should see those lights operate, indicating that the appropriate relay is switching. Then there'll be wires coming out of those which we have to micro solder onto the MP3 electronics. That's the clever bit. There's also an extension lead coming down and through to the steering column with a USB port, which also connects to the MP3. One of the buttons on the radio will also switch the source of the MP3. The MP3 can have its own onboard hard flash card up to, I think, 32 gig. And then if you was to press the source button on here once the MP3 is active with the left hand switch, you would then be able to switch to your toggle USB stick. The idea of that is as follows. I'll have my onboard MP3s, onboard MP3s that are always in the car, that live with the car, so that'll be your classic tunes, the tunes that you like to drive to. And then if you've got a new album out, or you've got into some new music, or you've found a new artist, put it on your USB stick and then just shove it in the side of the steering column, press the source select switch on the radio, and it'll boot from that one, which so you don't have to listen to your recycled music from the set. I think you'll get what I mean. I'll give you a live demo when it's done. Let me build this box now and we'll move on. Alright, just wiring up the status LED. You'll see what that's for later on. Let me just bring in on the lens. That's an LED which is going to be built into the back of the set, and it's a blue LED. The reason I chose blue is because it's Blaupunkt. There's a sort of blue theme going on, and the idea is going to be, whilst this is backlit normally with a filament bulb, what's going to happen is when you select the MP3 button on it, it's going to backlight in blue. That's going to fire in blue light just at the side, but not full face, just to let you know, kind of thing, that you've got power getting to your MP3. It's a kind of little feature and a little diagnostic as well, so it'll know if there's any faults with my player. I'm going to know it's not receiving any data, so that's just going to go in behind the back and just give a little telltale. It may or may not work. I've got to work out if the blue LED is able to penetrate enough so that it gets into the dial. I'll find out now. Just putting some heat shrink on now. I've got 2 lots of heat shrink going on, one over the resistor there, just to keep those 2 legs of the LED apart so they don't short out. Okay, so heat shrink going on. We're wired in on the switches now. We're all wired up there on the switches. Okay, so you can see how they're on that Vero board there, and then I'm going into my harness here, then going down to my multi-connectors. That enables me to whiz that radio out should there be any faults without having to undo all those cables. Just a quick 6-pin DIN plug. That also carries the status light power feed there. Okay, so LED in, and then a test of the LED to see if the system is a working idea. Got to say thanks to Chrome London for supplying this set, which is in fabulous condition, especially the front chrome strip, so thanks to Mike for that from Chrome London. I hope he doesn't disapprove of my modifications. Alright, so we've got the blue dot, the Blaupunkt, the blue dots, the Blaupunkt. Just in case anyone didn't know, Blaupunkt is blue spot, I think. Right, so now what I'm doing, I want to find out a place where this blue LED can shine through this bezel without being too in your face, too incongruous or whatever. So I'm placing it behind, and then I'm looking for where it's going to shine through. And as you can see it there, it's coming in now. Where can we go? Looks like we can get it in along that bottom trim there. So what you'd get is just a little telltale that the MP3 is booted up. Okay, that's the plan with that. I don't want to make it too crazy, so I'm going to position this now where I think it's good, and then glue gun that in after I've heat shrinked it on. So little blue point, you can see it wandering around there, just a little touch, just so I know it's booted up and the MP3 is running. Just something subtle which I wanted to put in. There is actually a blue dot on the front there. Possibly I could drill through. That means modding the radio, because all this stuff at the moment will remove without any damage, so drilling through there would mod the radio slightly. I'm concerned about that, so I'll just see. But you can see what I'm trying to do here, can't you, with that? Just trying to give it something that tells it you've switched your MP3 on. A little bit of feedback. This is the MP3 button, by the way. When you press that there, it'll toggle in the relay, and then this will just light up blue point. Okay, that's all I'm on with at the moment. We'll see how it looks and that finishes. Right, I found a good place to bounce the blue point off. Just coming in at the back of the set, bounces off the back of this, and you just get a blue area around that clock when you hit the music button. That's actually a tone switch on the original set, but this actually will switch on your MP3 now. And then that will light up blue. Normally it's lit up with a little red light, that'll stay on, but this will also light up blue. Just gives you a little extra little feature, and you press that and it brings it to life a little bit more whilst keeping it totally looking original. So I'm going to glue gun that in position now in just the exact right angle that it needs to bounce about. You can see it now. So we'll just get that in just the right place, set that, and then we'll start building the relay box up for it. So we're moving on pretty good with this at the moment. It's all nice and solid as well. Those switches aren't going to go anywhere, and they're all activating okay. I've metered those out now, so they're giving a bleep on the wires. So keeping on moving, full speed. Keep going, full speed. Okay, building the control box now, the relay control box, or the interface box. 4 holes there for 4 LEDs to go in, and they're going to show the status of the relays that are controlled by the micro switches in there. Basically it's a box which tells me that I'm getting the outputs from the radio, the micro switches are working. As each relay clicks, the red light will go on. Relay contacts then go on to the MP3 to control it, so it's a sort of interface box between the two, between the radio and the MP3 player. And that connects on that multi-plug there, which we've just wired up and tested. The LED in to do the blue illuminations on, so when the MP3 boots up you'll get a blue LED on the back glass. Gives you a little touch that tells you that there's power getting through to the MP3 unit. So I'm going to glue gun in the LEDs, resistor on for a bank of them. One resistor should serve all 4 because they're not all on at once, so we can common the resistor up, glue gun them in, solder resistor onto the common, or rather the I'll probably put it on the anode, just link them all together, and then a wire to each LED going to the relay coils. 4 relays to go in here now, miniature relays. We'll glue gun those in and get the flying leads on. So you'll have a cable coming in, then a cable going out. Cable going out then solders across the MP3 module. We are ready to go on this now. LEDs in, ready for glue. Just glue, blob of glue on each one of them now, and we'll get the resistor in to common up for the power feed. So let's get some glue on them now.